Okay, we're going to do chapter 16 today. Let's begin. Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are ye all. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest? I also could speak as ye do, if your soul were in my soul's stead. I could heap up words against you, and shake mine head at you. But I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips should assuage your grief. Though I speak, my grief is not assuaged, and though I forbear, what am I eased? So I should say here that I found this chapter to be pretty straightforward. So that's why I was able to turn this around so quickly. Not that you can't say more than what I'm going to say today. You certainly could. This is just for my own personal edification. If you get anything out of it, that's great too. But this line, verse 6, though I speak, my grief is not assuaged, and though I forbear, what am I eased? So Job acknowledges that speaking about his predicament does no good. That's what he thinks. That might be the case. Well, we haven't finished this book yet. And feels the tension of a paradox in regards to sharing his dilemma, right? Like all his friends just mock him and tell him that he's got like these terrible secrets. The Barnes notes on the Bible, though I speak, my grief is not assuaged, but for me it makes now no difference whether I speak or am silent. My sufferings continue. If I attempt to vindicate myself before people, I am reproached, and equally so if I am silent. If I maintain my cause before God, it avails me nothing, for my sufferings continue. If I am silent and submit without a complaint, they are the same. Neither silence, nor argument, nor entreaty avail me before God or man. I am doomed to suffering. What am I eased? All right. So I think that captures the full essence of it. Verse 7. But now he hath made me weary. Thou hast made desolate all my company. This is Job's family, right? And thou hast filled me with wrinkles, which is a witness against me, and my leanness rising up in me beareth witness to my face. He teareth me in his wrath, who hateth me. He gnasheth upon me with his teeth. Mine enemy sharpeneth his eyes upon me. So this is really intense, comparing God to his enemy. If Job really believed God was his enemy, I think he would have something more vengeful in his voice. But it is passages like this that I suppose many Gnostics attach themselves to. Verse 10, they have gaped upon me with their mouth. They have smitten me upon the cheek reproachfully. They have gathered themselves together against me. So the idea here seems to be that Job's friends are instruments of God's anger, which is problematic for those who have been following along since the beginning of this series that I've been doing here. We discussed that figures like Job's wife might be tapped into Satan, and that it is Satan working through them and testing Job. This further complicates the way in which the spiritual forces work together on the soul of man. Verse 11. By the way, I'm not some sort of expert on this. Like, I'm not trying to lead anybody astray, but I'm sensing this tension here, and I think it's something that, a lot more research ought to be devoted to. Not trying to point out contradictions because I have an agenda here. Verse 11. God hath delivered me to the ungodly and turned me over into the hands of the wicked. Verse 12, I was at ease, but he hath broken me asunder. He hath also taken me by my neck, and shaken me to pieces, and set me up for his mark. 13, his archers compass me round about. He cleaveth my reins asunder, and doth not spare. He poureth out my gall upon the ground. He breaketh me with breach upon breach. He runneth upon me like a giant. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin and defiled my horn in the dust. I didn't know what this meant sewing sackcloth upon the skin. I mean, I could infer, but I thought it was best to look it up, and I'll share this with you. From the pulpit commentary, I've sewed sackcloth upon my skin. Another transition. Job turns to consideration of how he has acted under his severe afflictions. In the first place, he has put on sackcloth, not for a time merely as ordinary mourners do, but for a permanency, so that he may be said to have sewn it to his skin. There's perhaps also an allusion to the adhesion of the garments to his many sores, and have defiled my horn in the dust. What does this mean? My horn is equivalent to my pride, my dignity. Job, when he left his state and put on sackcloth and sat down among the ashes, denuded himself of his honor and dignity, and as it were, trailed them in the dust. Verse 16. My face is foul with weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death. Not for any injustice in mine hands, also my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not thou my blood, and let my cry have no place. I didn't know what this line meant, so I looked at the Jameson Fawcett Brown Bible commentary, and I thought it was good. As far as my blood, that is my undeserved suffering. He compares himself to one murdered, whose blood the earth refuses to drink up until he is avenged. The Arabs say that the dew of heaven will not descend on a spot watered with innocent blood. No place, no resting place, may my cry never stop. May it go abroad, earth in this verse, in antithesis to heaven. May my innocence be as well known to man as it is even now to God. So he wants everybody to know about his problem. He wants this to be world famous. Let my cry have no place. Verse 19. Also now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high. My friends scorn me, but mine eye poureth out tears unto God. Right? So Job, going back to earlier, Job doesn't conceive of God as his enemy, even though his words seem to indicate that. Why would he be pouring out tears unto God if he thought he was truly his enemy? Verse 21, oh, that one might plead for a man with God as a man pleadeth for his neighbor. I thought this was interesting. Job is expressing how he desires a judicial setting where he can plead his case before God, which is it's understandable, but you think about it and take it to its full extent, it's also kind of absurd. Going to the people's court with God, or prosecuting God, or taking a worldly convention and trying to put the divine in it. Verse 22, when a few years are come, then I shall go the way whence I shall not return. He's saying that his days are numbered. Okay, that is chapter 16.